Hey everybody, it's Cindy and Stacy again. I'm just kind of cracking up because I asked Stacy, was she going to start talking or was I? And she told me that because I was older, I could start talking. So anyway, we're back for another video of our memories and we're kind of changing it up a little bit today. We're not going to do a craft. We're not going to cook. We're just going to talk. So, we're going to talk about different family members. Stacy's going to pull up Ancestry because, like we've already told you, sometimes our memories are not that great. But we're going to pull up Ancestry and we're going to start talking about our memories. I guess probably the first person, which we've touched on in our last video, is our Pawpaw. His birthday is coming up. It will be St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah.
So,
and I would say I did not know that. I never knew that until one year we were having a Valentine banquet at church.
Yeah.
And Aunt Barbara was in charge of decorating a table. Like different people, and I don't know if it was a Sunday school class or
yeah,
and each member of the Sunday school class or how it ended up that she was in charge of the table. But she chose March because St. Patrick's Day was Papa's birthday.
Well, I think I've always kind of knew it, but I don't think I knew it as a kid as much as I knew it as an adult.
Well, I was probably...
yeah, you were young.
But at the time of that Valentine banquet, I was probably early 20s, very early 20s, so...
Well, I'm talking about like when we were kids and he died, which kind of was leading me into actually talking about when he died. Do you remember when he died? I remember Mama and Daddy taking us to the drive-in movie.
No, I don't remember that.
And I don't remember if it was when we went and seen The Shadow of the Hawk or what it was. But anyway, we went to a drive-in movie. This was all around the time where he was sick and in the hospital, I believe. Anyway, I remember for some reason, and I guess it was because they knew that things weren't looking good with him. But I remember us having to sleep on a pallet in their room. Do you remember that?
In whose room?
Mom and Daddy's room. And I remember them getting a call during the night that he had passed away or was about to pass away or something.
I don't remember that. All I remember was one time, I think it was in the few days prior to him dying. I remember, if I'm remembering correctly, I remember us in the waiting room of the hospital.
Well, yeah, because the whole family would have had to be there, so there was nobody really to take care of us. Probably it was in the middle of the night. I'm sure
it was like
in the middle of the night.
It was at night, and I remember us being so tired and not really knowing exactly what was going on. But in those days you had to be like 14 to go up to a room, and he may have even been in ICU, which would have
probably was. If I had to guess.
But I just remember.
So I'm thinking he passed away from an aneurysm. I think
it was something heart related.
Yeah, I think it was an
cardiovascular related.
Yeah.
But I do remember us being at the hospital in the waiting room.
See, I don't remember the hospital, but I remember at home before we ever went to the hospital.
Well, I don't think this was the night he died. I think this was a few days. What I remember it was like a few days before he died.
Yeah. I do remember his funeral too. Do you remember? I can even remember what we were wearing.
I don't remember that.
Do you remember the little white dresses with the pink flowers on them? They were kind of popple, that bumpy fabric. I don't know what that's called. We got a picture at Grandma's house with us with those dresses on. I think it's the one where I posted it like a year or two ago with us and Johnny and Mike, and
I don't remember.
We're sitting on Grandma's couch. Holly and was Holly born then? She may not have been born yet. May have just been Tony, you, Johnny, and Mike.
Oh, in the picture?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, no, Holly wasn't in the picture.
Okay. So anyway, well, that's the dresses we wore. I even remember being outside, like, where the hearse would be up under the little carport thing, and they would come out that
At the
side
funeral
door.
home?
Yes.
Mm.
They would come out the side door, and that's where they would load the casket into the hearse. I remember being there, and I remember Grandma and Grandpa were here at that time because they came to the funeral, but they were going to take us home after the funeral.
Okay.
We weren't going to the graveside. But then we found out that we were running around out there outside the funeral home, and we found out Karen was going to the graveside. So we decided we wanted to go to the graveside. I don't think we'd ever been to a funeral before.
Well, probably not.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think we had. So I think Mom and Daddy were trying to shield us a little bit from that.
Yeah.
Of course, Brian says I have a funeral fetish. He says I go to anybody. If I've met them one time, I will go to their funeral. I said that is not true. I said,
We
but
just have a big family.
Well, I said I was raised right, and when somebody died, you went to their funeral or to the visitation at least. Probably mostly the funeral too, but
it depended on how close you were.
True, and that's what I told
But the
them.
thing is, nowadays,
They have it all in one.
yeah, visitation
it's
is just like, and for people that work or don't live close by, it's very hard to get to the funeral home.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't have time, I mean, I hate to say it, but if you don't have like, an hour, a couple of hours to go to a funeral and then a graveside and all that, you could go to the funeral home the night before, spend, 10, 15 minutes talking, paying your respects, condolences, or whatever.
Yeah.
And then, if it wasn't a super close family member, but somebody that you, respected, you would want to go. But the way people are doing it now, it makes it hard to.
And I know why they're doing it. It's because it's more economical to do it all in one day. You don't have to pay all the stuff for the second day.
Well, see, back then, though, the visitation the night before, I feel like was included because I feel like we only had to pay for an extra night with Daddy.
And then the visitation.
We had 2 nights of visitation with Daddy.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They do it all in one day so they don't have to pay that extra.
But I thought we only had to pay for one extra night. I could be wrong.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. It would be one. If they did it in 2 days, you're still paying an extra day.
But we had I can't remember what day. I guess it was a Monday night. Daddy died.
I don't remember.
But we had visitation
we had
Tuesday night and Wednesday night, and he was buried on Thursday.
You think we had 2 days of visitation?
Yes.
I don't know. I remember having one. We might have had 2 because Daddy was very well liked. Mama too. I mean,
we had church people. We had family people from both sides of the family.
Yeah.
Daddy's co-workers.
Post office people.
Probably some of his customers.
Yeah. Yeah.
Speaking of, this is getting a little bit off track, but that's what we do. Eli Gold got not renewed, whatever.
Yes.
Which I think is kind of sad. I think they should have let him go out on his terms, which, I think from what I've heard, it kind of was. But,
I know where you're going with this now. I didn't know where you were going with this.
But that got me to thinking about, I wonder what Daddy would think of this. But then I thought, well, Daddy didn't really follow football, but Eli Gold came in the post office where Daddy worked.
Yeah.
And I remember one time he was telling something about, he said,
he called him little Eli.
He said, he come in and I said, hey, Eli. And Daddy said, hey, Jer. And then Daddy said, he kind of looked to say, he said, he calls me Jer. And that just whole thing popped in my mind because everything going on with Eli Gold right now.
Yeah, yeah. Well, what I can say is that both Mama and Daddy, it was standing room only at both of their funerals. And
well, because they were young.
Well, yes. But what I'm also trying to get at is I don't know that I will have that at mine, but I hope that I have impacted people's lives enough that they think enough of me. But I understand also because I do work and it has been a lot of the funerals that I have. I don't actually stay for the funerals, but because most of the funerals of people I've known over the last several years, especially since been working at US Pipe, their funerals are usually in Hueytown, so that's just like 5 minutes from the shop.
Mm-hmm.
So I can take a short lunch and pop over there and go and to the visitation and stay a few minutes and then go back to work. But yeah, I mean, I hope. And I actually almost put a post out on Facebook about a week or two ago, and I wasn't looking for comments or anything about me or anything, but I almost put a post out on Facebook, and it is something for everybody to ponder, really. When you die, what could people say about you? What would they say about you?
Mm-hmm. That's weird that you say that because I've been thinking it's like, when somebody that you care about passes away, you always think, oh, I wish I had said this, or I hope they knew this. But I was thinking not necessarily that, but like you never know when your last conversation is going to be with somebody.
Well, we know
So,
that very well.
so whether I'm not talking about things you wish you said.
Yeah.
I'm about thinking what if your is your last conversation one you will regret.
Well,
Did you leave?
I have a little bit of a regret, right, with Daddy.
Well, I mean, we did. I mean,
But you know why, don't you?
well,
Because we lived down the street from them, and I had just ran down there to their house to get something. I think Lauren had left something or something. Maybe she had needed something for school or something. I don't know. It was just going to be a quick trip, though. I was just going to run over there, get it, and go back home because I think I must have been having to cook or something. I don't know.
y'all were living in
Were we?
Avalon, yeah, because me and Chase were
Okay.
living in behind
Well, we
Mama.
still weren't very far from.
No, you weren't.
That's true. I forgot about that. Yeah. So anyway, but it was going to be a quick trip. And Daddy always, well, not always, but he had a garden a lot of years, and a lot of years he also had a strawberry patch.
Mm-hmm.
And when I walked in the door, Daddy didn't even say hey or anything to me, which was fine. He went straight out the back door as soon as I walked in. And he comes back in, and I've gotten whatever it was I needed to get. He hands me a basket or a bag or bowl or whatever he handed me. I don't remember exactly how he handed them to me, but it was strawberries for Lauren and Alan. And Daddy told me, he said, now make sure you wash them. And I said, I will, just kind of real sarcastically, and that was my last words to Daddy.
Well,
and I know he knew I didn't mean it ugly, so I feel okay because we always had a good relationship. But I do have that little bit of regret that my last words to Daddy was sarcasm. So
yeah, but I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about like
if you will lean that back on this, it
if
feels good on your back.
if you get in an argument with somebody and you
Yeah.
don't resolve it, and then something happens. But anyway, back to that. My last conversation with Daddy was by phone.
Yeah.
Aunt Jan was in town.
Was she already in town?
Mm-hmm. Because Mama and Daddy, it was that very night, or maybe it was 2 nights before. They were out at Mama's. Mom and Daddy, and I think Uncle Norman and Aunt Chris. I don't know if Uncle Bob and Aunt Joan were there, but they were there visiting. And Bruce had called me.
Yeah.
Want me to come in for an interview for a job at
At
Vulcan
Vulcan
Coach.
Coach?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I didn't ever know that, I guess.
And so what?
I just sounded like Biden. I was kind of mumbled over my words.
Well, anyway, so I had called Daddy out there. Lived right behind Mama's.
Yeah.
But instead of walking out there and talking to him, I called him on the phone out there to ask him what he thought.
Yeah.
So I regret not actually going to my last chance, giving up my last chance to have seen him.
Alive. Yeah.
But yeah, because I remember at the funeral, Bruce was like, "When you want to reschedule?" And I was like, "I don't need to do anything."
Yeah.
I just felt like in the state of grief,
Yeah.
I needed to stay with what I knew and not be trying to learn a new job and new environment and everything. So I ended up staying where I was. But
Well, but that, that did with Daddy dying suddenly like he did, because we probably told you before, but our daddy died in the middle of the night of a massive heart attack. So, he actually died on the way to the hospital. I think they did revive him, but when he got to the hospital, he went back into cardiac arrest and they never could get him back. But anyway, what that did teach me, though, was what you were just saying a minute ago about your last conversation with somebody. So I try. I don't always succeed, but I try to make sure that I treat people good so that I don't have to regret a last conversation with somebody. Now, that may not always be the case, and it may not always be my fault. I may try to have a conversation with someone, and I may have to be stern, with some of my kids sometimes and some of the decisions that they might make. I might have to be stern with them, and they may get mad at me, but they need to know I always have their best interest at heart.
I think they should know that it comes from a place of love and concern and care, even if they don't agree with or can't accept or it makes them angry.
Yeah.
I think they know the intention behind it. I don't think.
Yeah.
Now, if you're having a knockdown, drag out argument, then you might regret some things you say in the heat of the moment. But that's what I'm talking about, is trying to make sure. I mean, like I said, not regretting what you didn't do, regretting what you did do.
True.
Is my thing, because you can forever in a day have regrets about what you didn't do because you don't know. But you should always try to leave things. For people you care about, leave it on good terms.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you don't have the regret of what you did do.
True. Yeah. Yeah. That's how I've tried to live my life. So.
And I'm not perfect. I mean, growing up, we didn't grow up saying I love you to each other, to family, didn't grow up hugging and all that. And still, so I made the decision when I had the kids, and it's very rare. I won't say it's never happened, but I try to never leave from seeing them without saying I love you. Now, Crystal's not as receptive to hugs, but because she's not a huggy, kissy person.
Yeah.
Now, Michael, I don't know. He's not really a huggy, kissy person, but he allows me to hug him.
Well, I know when my kids were little, I told them I loved them, but I think when they grew up, I didn't quite do that as much. I know that they all know I do love them. And I probably, and when they come to more, the boys will go to Brian some and Lauren occasionally, but I feel like they come to me more. So I feel like they
Probably depends on the situation.
Yes, yeah. The situation definitely. But I know that they know they can count on me. So how we got from Papa's death to that.
Who
But
knows?
I think we've actually gave some pretty sound advice, and I think that I like this little session that we're doing here.
Okay, so let's backtrack to Pawpaw then.
Okay.
In our last video, which I haven't posted yet, hopefully I can get some of these posted tomorrow.
Yeah.
But you talked about, and I didn't realize it until we were watching it back earlier, because we hadn't even watched it back till this morning. You talked about you only really remember him sitting in that chair. I got thinking, well, that almost sounds like he was
An invalid.
unable to walk, which he was on disability due to his cardiovascular. I don't know how long. I don't remember him working. But then again, I was only 5 when he died.
I don't remember him working either, but I remember that chair when you first walked in, and it was over to the left
On the left.
of Mama's house.
And Mama had a chair up to the right of that sliding door. It was a sliding glass door.
Yeah.
Mama had a chair to the right, but then after Papa died, she started sitting in the chair
That's what I
on
was.
the left.
That's where I was going with that.
But so it wasn't.
And she changed chairs eventually. It became. She got a different chair. It wasn't always the same chair. Like when Papa died, I don't know when she changed her furniture, but
not very often.
Hey, that reminds me. Do you remember the green, velvety, silky couch?
Yes, in the
formal living room, which was upstairs.
Which I mean, it wasn't like a.
No, it wasn't
a 2-story. It was okay, and because I was thinking about this earlier, and I didn't know for a long time where the den was in Mama's workroom.
There used to be a carport.
Yes, Papa had closed it in at some point for them to have a den in her workroom.
Yeah. Oh, and by the way, our mama, I don't know if we've told this before, but she had a big old huge work table.
Oh my gosh. It was probably at least
15 foot, I bet.
I was thinking 10, but it might have been 15, and probably at least 6 to 8 feet wide.
Maybe. I don't know. It wasn't. Well, of course, it wasn't as wide as it was long. But anyway, she made draperies and pillows and
bedspreads.
Yeah, bedspreads. She worked somehow or another. She got in with an interior.
I think she worked for several interior decorators.
Yeah,
but one was Melba's Interiors. That's
okay. Yeah,
it's probably not still in business, but it was located in Newtown. And I think when Uncle Bob owned Bob's Carpetland, he kind of referred some. She got some work from him.
I want to say there was something,
but I could be wrong about that.
Maybe in Fairfield or Birmingham or somewhere called Corbell's Interior or
Corbell,
something like that. Maybe I can't remember though.
Maybe.
I could be wrong.
Yeah, it was more than one interior decorator that utilized
but
her.
She was always busy. I mean,
oh, yeah.
She was constantly having jobs of stuff.
You remember the sign that it was a handwritten with a marker. It was on the when you went in, sliding glass doors, chair on this side, chair on that side, and then there was a little shelf thing to the left of that chair. Mm-hmm. But then there was a brick wall on the back.
Yep.
With the daybed in front of it. Mm-hmm. And then the work table and all her sewing machines.
She had the pictures up right there.
Yes, all the pictures. Yeah. But beside that was a huge picture frame with just tons of little and small pictures all over it. But she had that handwritten signs that all work has to be in workroom, blah, 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 days before
I don't remember.
It was like handwritten on a piece of paper with a marker, with a black marker. I remember she had it taped up there.
Come and bring her things or something.
And I think it was she got where people was like bring, and I think what she meant by that the material, because the people would like. I think the people that used her services was like sell the interior decorating and then go purchase the material and bring to her, and she just created with what
Yeah.
the heck.
Yeah.
But I think people had gotten to where they were like bringing in stuff last minute and expecting her to get it done.
Yeah.
So,
But yeah, Mama had this real pretty color green, would you call that? It wasn't like a Kelly green. It wasn't like a really an emerald green. It was
kind of
more
like a
of that.
Victorian green.
Yeah, it was
It
really
looked,
pretty.
or like Queen Anne or something.
Yeah,
Like the velvety velour, whatever.
it was not. Was it brocade? Maybe.
No, it wasn't brocade. It was more almost
It
like
wasn't
a
velour. It was
almost
no.
like,
It was more of a silky. It was a silky. It wasn't a velour or
oh,
a
it may have
linen.
been brocade. I was completely.
Yeah,
I was thinking about a cushion that was on the couch.
yeah,
But yeah, it might have been like a brocade.
yeah. It was pretty.
I mean, it's very dated. I mean, it would be vintage now,
Yeah.
and even at that time, it was kind of old.
Well, back in the 80s, yeah, it was. Of course, in the 80s, there was the the velvet with the old spinning wheel
Farmhouse
or
scenery,
whatever.
farm, yeah, or very floral.
Yeah. Oh, and another thing at Mama's house that I always loved. Two things. Well, one of them I think might have been at Uncle Norman's house. Um, the globe lantern lamp thing that had the rose on it.
Oh yeah. That was on. That was in the living room on that
Little
little.
table right where you
It was.
put
It
her
was
bedroom.
almost like a what you would now call a sofa table, like a table that would go behind a sofa.
Yeah.
Instead,
It was a
but it
smaller table though, I
but
think.
it was against the wall. It wasn't.
Mhm.
It was against the opposite wall.
And then you remember the oil lamp thing that I
Now
had?
that was Uncle
That's
Norman's,
what I was.
where the oil
Yeah.
like
Little
dripped
drip down.
down the plastic
That
wires.
was
Yeah,
neat.
that was neat. That was a definite late 70s, early 80s decor.
Hmm.
I think it was probably more late 70s.
Yeah. And then them going to Uncle Norman and Uncle Bob and Aunt Joan and Uncle Norman. They would all go. Mom and Daddy would go to Uncle Norman and Aunt Chris's house on Sunday nights and play.
Was it Sunday night or
It
Saturday
was
night?
Sunday nights because it'd be after we went to church. Because we would be over there and they would fix them a drink, mixed drink,
I think daiquiris usually.
probably, and then they would have. It depended. Sometimes they would do sandwiches. Probably most all the time did sandwiches. Maybe I don't know. I don't remember, but they would eat and they would play a game. Most of the time it would be Tripoli, which I don't even know what that is.
It's kind of, I think it's kind of like a cross between poker and rummy. So,
Yeah, I don't know.
but they played Uno a lot too.
Well, they played Uno and they played dominoes
Yeah,
a
they played
lot.
dominoes.
Yeah,
I don't. They probably did there, but I remember more of them getting dominoes out after gatherings at Mama's,
yeah,
which we played Uno there too.
yeah.
Um,
And
but
we were the only kids besides Christopher that was there usually, right? Dana and all, Deborah
yeah,
and Susie and all them. I guess Deborah was old enough to keep all of them,
yeah.
and so which
I
we
mean, there
would
was
probably get.
sometimes like if it was after a Thanksgiving or one of the birthday dinners or something, everybody'd be there. But there were other times when and maybe sometimes it wasn't Uncle Bob and Aunt John did come because I want to say sometimes it was
Sue and Carlton.
no. I'm trying to think of who. You're talking like at Uncle Norman and Aunt Chris's,
Mm-hmm.
Mom and Daddy. I mean, Mom and Chris.
Bruce and Peggy.
I don't think so.
Maybe occasionally, maybe not. I don't know.
I want to say it was like somebody that maybe worked for Uncle Norman that was a friend and his wife.
Randy Sloan?
I don't think so, but maybe.
Yeah. I'm surprised I remembered his last name.
And they had that guy named Frog that worked for him, right?
Yeah.
Well, he wasn't named Frog. That was his nickname.
No, I know. I'm just trying to think. Was that later, though? Like when he built his new house?
I don't remember. But anyway, that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I think a lot of times Uncle Bob and Aunt Joan did, because they did. They had 5 kids.
Yeah.
And I imagine their lives were hectic with Bobby and Kevin played baseball. Dana played piano. Susie was in the marching band.
Yeah.
I don't know if Dana was in the band or not.
Huh?
And I think Kevin and Bobby, one of them or both of them, may have been in the band too, in addition to playing baseball.
I thought they were like in junior high when they moved to Pell City.
They graduated from Pleasant Grove.
Bobby and Kevin did not. They graduated from Pell City.
No, they did not.
Yes.
No.
We'll have to ask Uncle Bob. Write that down. I feel like they did. Because I feel like I remember thinking, wonder why they didn't wait till they graduated to move.
I'm pretty sure they did.
Well, you was also pretty sure that Daddy was singing at that singing.
Well, anyway, I think they all graduated from, because I want to say,
I know Dana did.
I want to say when they were building that house in Pell City, it was they were building theirs at the same time Deborah and Wayne were building theirs.
Right.
It was basically on the same property that they kind of divided or whatever.
Yeah.
But I want to say,
Kevin had rooms that went up each side.
I don't think so. I think they had rooms they could have, but I think they were both in the service.
They lived there for a little while.
I don't remember. But anyway.
I remember going there and them coming out of the rooms. We had I don't know what it was we had. We had something there.
We did. I remember Uncle Bob talking about how Wayne and Deborah put vinyl siding on their house. And Uncle Bob said it looks like a trailer. And Wayne said, well, I had to put vinyl siding on my house because I knew I was going to have to help you paint your wood siding every few years.
Their house was a log house there.
It was wood siding. They had like a log features inside the interior, but the outside was not. It was wood siding.
I was thinking it was a log house. I wonder if Danny still lives there.
In Deborah's?
No, I thought he got Uncle Bob's.
I thought he was living in
Maybe
Deborah
he did
Wayne's
get Deborah
house.
Wayne.
After Deborah and Wayne moved to Asheville. After they all moved to Asheville.
Maybe.
I
was thinking that it was a log house because the reason I say that is because I remember Uncle Bob saying having to move all them logs and place them.
Well, it could have been they had to, because it was very wooded.
No, he was talking about when because he built the house.
Well, they built. I mean, they contracted it. They were their own contractor. They subcontracted out some stuff, I'm sure, but.
I ain't warmed up.
No?
I got it on 70.
Is it messed up again?
I don't know. I just have to go check.
Sorry, I'm writing notes about things to ask Uncle Bob. We may have to make another phone call either tomorrow or sometime.
Turned up 71. It was actually 169, not 70.
Did you hear it click on? If you changed the thermostat, you should have heard it click on.
It's pretty loud.
Well, it may be because we're against this wall that goes down the basement. It may be kind of a little draft coming through. I'm thinking we maybe should end this video and we could do another one real quick.
Yeah.
Just so it's not like
So
long for somebody to watch, so they can pick and choose.
Yeah.
So anyway, while we're trying to get temperature and comfort controls, we will end this video and do another one real quick. I've got to go to my son's in a little while. So
what time is it?
It's 12:04. That clock's right, which I think it should be. So I'll probably leave about 1. So we got time to do another one. So anyway, anything you want to say as a sign off?
No. I think we did. I think this is one of my more favorite videos that we've done, actually.
Because we're not distracted by doing
things.
Well, if you recall, this is what I originally wanted. You're like, I don't want to just be sitting there talking. We need to be doing something, a craft or cooking. That's what you said when I originally brought up the idea.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, we're going to close this one out, and then we will. We got off topic, but that doesn't matter because all our videos are about sharing our memories and.
I do want to tell right quick
before we end this one.
Yes. I don't know if you've noticed, but we have named our video series, I guess you would call it a series.
Our channel.
Whatever, yes, channel. Timeless Recollections. Isn't that what we named it?
I think so.
Yeah. And the reason that we named it what we named it was because our mother always wore a certain perfume from Avon. I mean, almost all my life I remember her. I mean, maybe when I was very young, probably, maybe not, but we had a lady down the road who sold Avon, and her name was Miss Gunn, and Mama started buying this timeless perfume from her, and so we all have a little bit of a bottle of it that I was able to salvage from the fire. So I gave all of the girls in the family at the time. I don't think, maybe the daughter-in-laws. I only have one daughter-in-law now, but
you didn't have any at that time.
Oh, I didn't, did I?
No.
Yeah. Okay. So anyway, I gave all the girls in the family a little bottle of the perfume. But
basically, you kept one, you gave me one, you gave Crystal one, you gave Lauren one.
Yeah. But I bought new bottles.
Yes, you transferred.
I still have. I have the original bottle still, but I also have the fancy bottle.
Yeah, the bottle you gave me is sitting on my chest of drawers in my bedroom.
But that's the reason that we named it Timeless Recollections, is because Timeless honors her memory and legacy in our lives, and then Recollections, obviously, because we're talking about memories.
We're recollecting.
So, anyway, I just wanted to I thought about that earlier when I was getting dressed, and I was just like, I don't know if we've ever told why we named it Timeless Recollections. Of course, I don't think when we did our first video, I don't even think we had a name for it.
We didn't. We started thinking about that after.
Yeah. So anyway, just wanted to give that little tidbit before we signed off.
All right. Well, stay tuned.